This week I learn how dehydration can lead to colic.
We have dry feed material.
And why an automatic waterer may be the answer.
I can say that ours is the most reliable.
I think you just did. So get comfortable, kick your boots off, and join me. This is The Horse Show, and I'm Rick Lamb. Surgical suite at Southwest Equine Medical and Surgical Center in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm with the gentleman who is our horse vet, Dr. Jeff Aldridge, who is a partner here and also a surgeon. Jeff, nice to have you on our show.
Good to be with you, Rick.
Well, let me ask you about colic. I know at one time colic was the #1 killer of horses. Is that still true?
Maybe not necessarily the #1, but it's absolutely one of the highest.
Colic is really not so much a condition as a symptom of a condition.
Exactly, you're absolutely right.
Can you explain what colic actually means?
Abdominal pain. So anytime we talk about a horse is colicking, it merely means they're exhibiting signs of abdominal pain. What the source of that pain is, we may or may not necessarily know.
And what kind of symptoms do you see in a horse that's colicking?
Most common would be a horse that's laying down. A lot of them will paw. They get up and down, want to roll on their back and forth, that sort of thing. A mild colic may just be a little bit of pawing, off feed, and looking at their flanks, something like that.
So how can you tell that that is a symptom of colic as opposed to normal behavior?
Well, I think most horses and most horse owners probably know the routine for their horse. Like you said, most horses will lay down at some point, but if you see that at an abnormal time, middle of the day, the horse is out laying down, he gets up for a few minutes and he's down again, it's something that you need to be aware of and take note of.
This is actually what?
That is what we call an enterolith, or a stone. They form in the gastrointestinal tract in the large colon typically.
This was inside a horse, in his large colon?
Horse, yep.
And this had to be surgically removed?
Yeah, surgically removed.
Now here's a cross-section of something like this. What is this actually composed of?
These are composed of minerals. They're mineral concretions of calcium, magnesium, ammonium, and some phosphate. A lot of times when you section them, you'll find a little nidus inside, a little rock or something like that seems to have started everything, and then they'll lay the mineral down around it, kind of like a pearl and a clam. And Arizona and California are probably the most predominant states to see stones. Most other states don't have them, but it has to do with mineral content in the feed and the water, and some of it, I think, is individual horse variation as well. You can have two horses side by side, one horse gets a stone and one doesn't.
Another possibility, as I understand it, is what is called normally a twisted gut or a torsion. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, torsion, most people call it a torsion. Technically, it would be called a volvulus. If you're a purist, would say it's a volvulus.
Well, I'm a purist, so I'm going to start using that word all the time. Volvulus, okay. And that causes from actually the colon twisting over on itself? Or
yes.
Becoming,
Yep, so the colon basically wraps around itself anywhere from, you can go 180-degree twist or up to 720, sometimes even more than that. Most commonly a 360-degree twist, but you can get more severe twists than that. If there's been significant venous compromise or arterial compromise, in some cases we have to resect the colon and remove most of the colon and get rid of it. So
cut out the dead stuff and kind of put it back together.
Exactly.
Now, what about the other category, I guess, that comes to mind for me is what I would call an impaction colic, where you actually have fecal matter in there that has become kind of dry. It's not passing through with the fluidity that it should. How common is that?
Those are probably one of the most common colics that we see here, and I think probably in general, if you talk to veterinarians across the country, would probably tell you the same thing.
What is the role of the water supply for the horse in his normal environment? How important is it for him to always have fresh water available?
Very important. They're just like you and I. Water is the most important thing that for us to stay alive. Same thing for the horse. I don't know that you could prove this scientifically and say, yes, absolutely, here's the steps that happen with water problems. But I think that's a big part of the major reason that we see impactions is not necessarily maybe the horse doesn't have access to water, but they either don't consume enough or don't have the opportunity to consume enough. But whether that's here in Arizona in the heat or a wintertime situation where it's cold, water freezes, or cold water, the horses just don't want to drink quite as much, but they get a little bit dehydrated. The feed bolus in the colon, the GI tract starts to get a little dry. The colon quits moving normally because it's a muscular system that depends on normal hydration status, so it gets a little weak as far as contractions go, and those are kind of the two, I think, predisposing factors for an impaction to start.
Now, in terms of a practical matter as far as horse owners and horse keeping is concerned, do you like to see automatic watering systems for horses?
I do, yep. I think automatic waters are a good way to go. They do give you a constant supply of fresh, clean water, but they're not foolproof. We need to remember to keep an eye on those things and check them daily. Exactly. Yep.
Even the best machine. Well, let's talk about one last thing here, and that is sand colic. Now, where we live here in the Southwest, there's a lot of sand in the dirt, and horses that eat off the ground can pick up a surprising amount of that. You have some x-rays over here that show this pretty graphically. Show me what we've got here.
So in this image we see this is a miniature horse that has an accumulation of sand in the colon. We see the sand is right here, this lighter or more gray area here, sand in the colon here as well. This horse had about probably 10 pounds of sand total in the colon that we ended up retrieving. In a normal-sized adult horse, it's not uncommon for us to get 30 to 40 pounds, and probably worst-case scenario would be about 50 pounds of sand from a colon. So it can be very time-consuming to get all that sand out of there.
Well, let me ask you, does psyllium work? Giving your horse a supplement called psyllium, which is it's meant to kind of gel and attach to that sand and carry it on out. Does that work?
I do. I absolutely think that it works, yes. We see a lot of sand colics here, and probably 9 times out of 10, we treat horses medically with psyllium, and they don't go to surgery.
What is this second x-ray over here?
This image is an abdominal image as well. So in this one we see enteroliths or stones. There's one sitting right here, a second one that's less distinct right here. And these stones are large enough that this horse can't pass these. They're stuck in that bottleneck where the large colon goes from this big around to the small colon about this big around. So those stones are similar in size to the ones that we saw before. So obviously that stone isn't going to fit through a hole this big. So to resolve this, we go in surgically, remove them, and horses typically do very well.
Yeah. Well, that is very cool, the way you can see all this detail on x-rays. I know we've only kind of scratched the surface on the subject of colic. I know that how you feed the horse has a large bearing on it as well. But I thank you so much, Dr. Jeff Aldrich, for being with us today, and thank you for taking such good care of my horses.
You're welcome. It's good to be with you.
Coming up, we'll shine the spotlight on Ritchie Industries, a world leader in the manufacture of automatic livestock waters. What's the Ritchie secret? Well, it really comes down to a single part. My guest is Ruth Peterson.
We have a reputation for quality and dependability.
When customers talk, Ritchie listens. And the EcoFound automatic waterer has just what customers want. A large access panel, flip-top cover, insulated casing, stainless steel trough, and Ritchie's famous fast refill valve. Like all Ritchie waterers, the EcoFound is durable, reliable, and comes with a 10-year warranty. Learn more at ritchieequine.com. And relax, Ritchie waters them right.
What could be better than a trail ride? A competitive trail challenge. 6 miles, 6 natural obstacles, and a chance to win some real money for yourself and your favorite horse charity. We've done it, and it's a blast. Visit actha.us to find a ride near you.